Edition of Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, special guest Evan Winter from Bucs Nation. How you doing, Evan?
Doing great, Gene. How you doing tonight, man?
Man, football is here. I mean, you
Yes, sir, it
cannot go
is.
wrong. Football's here. Let's all enjoy it. We got to take it in. So I got to ask you right off the bat: are you feeling like Tom Brady's really here? Is it reality setting in yet, or how are you feeling right now?
Reality has never felt so much like fantasy, and it's never felt so good, man. Yes, he is here. The GOAT is here. He is throwing passes, 90-yard bombs to Scotty Miller, multiple touchdowns to Mike Evans, connecting with Rob Gronkowski. It's just these last 3 days have been everything you'd hope you'd hear so far. With Tom Brady, including the interceptions. I mean, if he was out there not throwing interceptions, I'd honestly probably be more worried that he's
Yeah, I'd be
not
worried
throwing
about the
interceptions,
secondary.
because it just shows that A, the defense is playing pretty well, and B, that he's human and he's going to work harder to overcome those mistakes. I would rather him get off to a rough start because that just means he's going to work harder because it's not going to be up to his standard. So yeah, man, it's reality, it's fantasy, yet it is also reality, and it's never felt so good, man.
Yeah, for real. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I just think about it. He's throwing passes to wide receivers, and they're getting open in these precise passes. Have
Yes,
you? I just want to hear the word precision. When I hear the word accuracy, and
precision.
huh?
I just lightly said precision.
Yeah, and he's putting it in there. So
Yes,
this
accurate.
really makes it fun. I'm looking forward to the season, man. I mean, again, and I talk about this every week. I hope everybody's staying safe and doing what you need to do to social distance and helping to try to defeat this COVID-19 because this is just crazy. And it looks like we are going to have an NFL season, which is, I mean, in itself, it's just crazy. So tonight, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about start off with Tom Brady and just what is your assessments? I know that you have guys that are on the ground. You have credential media at these camps. What are people saying about what they're seeing from Tom Brady? Is there a different vibe between this year and last year? I know that's a cliche question, but you have two totally different quarterbacks under center now. So, what are your thoughts, or what have you heard?
100% it's a different vibe. You've got arguably the greatest quarterback of all time playing and throwing balls to your skill position players, competing against your defense, so on and so forth. And even the players have talked about Tom's command of the huddle, how he is just smooth coming into the offense like he's been in the system for a couple years already. They just talk about how his work ethic rubs off on everybody else, but yet at the same time, he's just another guy, as hard as that is to believe and as weird as that is for me to say. But he acts like one of the guys. He's not, walking in high and mighty. I've always kind of thought the Aaron Rodgers asshole thing was overrated, but I'm just going to use him as an example, anyways. Kind of not having that Aaron Rodgers, sense of self-esteem, for to put it kindly. And yeah, there's definitely a different vibe, man. And Scott Reynolds, a Pewter Report, went as far to say just after day 3 of camp, and this is no slight towards Scott. It just shows how well and how impressive Brady has been. He went ahead and said today that Tom, and now granted he's the GOAT, so of course this makes sense, but he said he could see why the Bucs moved on from Winston because Brady is still in fact elite, and he's noticed that just already after 3 days of practice.
And think about this. I don't know if you heard the interview with Mike Evans earlier in the week.
Oh,
Mike
definitely.
Evans was talking about route running. And
Right.
you've heard me in the offseason talk about route running. How is this going to happen? How are things going to be better, or what's going to happen when you get called out for rounding off a route or something like that? And just Tom Brady being the teacher that he is, helping Mike Evans to be an even better receiver than he is. I mean, that's huge.
Definitely. And that's another thing that they've been talking about. And Mike Evans even mentioned himself is Tom's going to chew you out if you're not where he expects you to be on a certain route by this time, by a certain point of development in the play. So he's holding everybody accountable, but also at the same time he holds himself accountable, and that's what you gotta love about Brady is he's not going to put himself above everybody else. And he even said that he wants to make Mike Evans a living legend. So Mike's already up there with some good company with Randy Moss and his consecutive streak of 1,000-yard seasons. So I mean, just to
And I
cement
got to
that living
ask, is
legend
that
would
is
be
that
great.
streak in jeopardy this year?
No, not at all. Not at all, man. If you look at Evans's numbers, so his lowest last year, I believe, if I remember correctly, is his lowest catch mark and the second lowest yardage mark of his career. I know he barely got the 1,000 yards in 2017, and I think his rookie year he had 66 catches. So I think last year might have been just one. It's the second lowest catches and second. Either way, last year was low in terms of production for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he still got over 1,000 yards. He still had over 65 catches, and he still had multiple touchdowns. He had several touchdowns. I don't think he's the deep threat. Scotty's going to be the speed guy in this offense, but Mike is the deep threat, and Brady's going to hit him, man. And believe it or not, last year Mike Evans was targeted more than Chris Godwin on passes from zero that incorporated 0 to 15 air yards. So in that short to intermediate range last year, Mike Evans was actually targeted more than Chris Godwin. So that streak is not in jeopardy this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see that. And again, kind of going back to where we started the show with, you've got a guy who's precision. He's a precision passer. He's a guy that has command of the huddle. Here's a guy that can read defenses. Here's a guy that he knows what he needs to do, and a consummate professional. I've seen a lot of things on Twitter from division rivals that have questioned, will Tom Brady be ready when the season starts? Uh, Tom Brady is not a concern to me. I mean, when you look top to bottom of this team, and you look at everybody, I mean, when the dust settles, I don't think the quarterback position is a position that I'm concerned about. Maybe backup. Now, backup is a whole nother can of worms there. That's uh, I could stay up late at night just being concerned about that. You know what I mean? And Evan, did we lose you? Okay. Just so you guys know, Evan has been having issues with his internet throughout the night. So we'll try to get him back on here in just a minute. And here he just mentioned that just now. So give us a few minutes, and I will get him back on here again. But just kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier, just with Tom Brady and what he's doing, man, it's just I'm excited about it. I think he's going to be just fine. And I know a lot of people are pessimistic, or not pessimistic, but optimistic, or I would say cautiously optimistic. That's the word I'm looking for. And we're going to see. I'm all in right now. Just because this is my team, and every year I'm all in. So in the beginning I may be a little bit pessimistic or indifferent, but season's here. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to see some football. I'm ready to see toe on leather on that football, and let's go. um, Stephen Pryor in the chat. Stephen, this is a great point here. Unfortunately, I don't have my link up right now. Otherwise, I would have this up on the screen. But he said a guy who can process what's going on the field and get the ball out fast, and get it out fast and accurately. So those are two huge things that we really need to kind of acknowledge here. Is that that's one of the things that makes Tom Brady a really good a good fit here in Tampa. I mean, with the level of talent that he has. And bear with me one moment. I'm going to see if I can get Evan back on here one more time. Yeah, and Brady does throw a nice ball for real. He does. And I'm here to tell you, just watching him, just watching the replays of what's going on. I think that you can't help but be excited about this. And let's see if I can get him another link. Comcast is horrible, by the way. That's who my guy has. I mean, when I lived in Virginia for a little bit, and Comcast was the worst. So I'm not shouting out. No, this is just not a. This is very bueno of Comcast. Okay, so I think we got him back. Give me a second here, and we about to roll. All right.
Uh,
So you back, man?
yeah,
So
it might do this again. So you know how it was going earlier. So hopefully
okay.
it doesn't do it again though.
All right, hold on one second. I think you're echoing here. Give me a second. Let's see if I
Okay. Gingers always ruin it, man. Sorry.
Let's see here. Give me a second. Let me clear that out. But kind of what I was talking about was just how Tom Brady has how he's coming to Tampa, and he's really he's kind of taken over, and you can't help but be excited about him.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is his team. I mean, that's why he came here to further cement his legacy, to further his legacy, just really in general, not just cement it, but just to take it to the next level. Because if he is able, I don't even think he really needs to win a Super Bowl. If he can just get to maybe an NFC Championship game, if he can take the Bucs to the playoffs a couple years in a row, even deep into the playoffs, I'm not talking about like a wild card berth or anything. Then
Right.
I think it helps solidify his legacy that he didn't really need Bill all along. So this is his team, man, for sure, and everybody's acting that way as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. I'm super excited. Like I said, just every year, I'm like I guess like I can go back to like when Gerald McCoy left. I was pretty indifferent. I was like, okay, whatever, he's gone. Let's see if we can get somebody else in here, and let's kind of go from there. And then after that happened, this year, we lost. Jameis Winston ended up not getting re-signed. Tampa ended up getting Tom Brady. I was like, okay, let's wait and see what happens. Then all these different moves happen. You shore up your defense. You bring back all these guys who contributed last year to make this defense good, and you bring all these guys back, and that puts you in a really good position. I know we've talked about depth on that defensive line. I'm not going to go there again, but you get an idea what I'm talking about here. That Tampa has done some really great things. Just putting this team in a position to win. Uh, I really believe that where we are right now, or where as a fan base, everybody should be on board with this. I understand that we've had issues in the past, the Chris Baker acquisition, Deshaun Jackson, Dirk Cutter, Mike Smith, Greg Schiano. You can go all the way back, and every year this was supposed to be the year that the Bucs get over the hump and get back in the playoffs. But I genuinely believe if you can keep Tom Brady healthy, I believe this is the guy that gets you in a position to really do something. It's about wins and losses this year. It's not about anything other than wins and losses and getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely playoffs or bust this year. Whenever they first signed Brady, I didn't necessarily tag them as playoffs or bust because they're 7-9, and even though they're 7-9, it is hard in the NFL for losing teams or teams with a losing record. Always a good choice, my man. Always a good choice. It's hard for teams with losing records to get into the playoffs. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, even though the NFL is a league of parity. However, after hearing the reports, after seeing how things are going, progressing, hearing what everybody's saying, it feels like this should be a playoff team this year. Obviously, injuries could have something to say, but we're not going to talk about injuries.
No,
You can't plan your season around injuries, as we've
no, you
discussed
can't.
on here before as well. So as long as everything goes to plan, everybody's healthy, this should be a playoff team.
One of the listeners, longtime listener, Buck Skull Gang in the house. I got to shout this guy out, and he's one of the guys that he's kind of the beacon of hope for me, really, because I remember when it was being rumored that Tom Brady could potentially come to Tampa. This guy said Tom Brady's coming to Tampa, and me, you can go and look at the podcast. I was dismissive. I was like, yeah, right. Shut the fuck up. That was kind of my whole, yeah, right, bro. Yeah, you go ahead and then you go and take that somewhere else. And sure enough, Tom Brady gets signed. And then check this out. This is for an encore. This guy says Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski is coming to Tampa. And I'm like, dude,
Damn,
here you
that's
go again.
impressive, man.
No, he straight up said Gronkowski is coming to Tampa. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm thinking about this. I'm like, Yeah, right, man. Shut the fuck up, man. Anybody coming here, man? Just get that off of here. And the next thing you know, boom, he's here. So shout out to Buck Skull Gang in the house, man. He's keeping the faith, keeping it strong, bro. And you stood by what you had to say. So I appreciate that, man, because I wasn't on board. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't on board. I was kind of irritated, and I'm telling you what, man. I hate Atlanta. And the Atlanta Falcons, and the Dallas Cowboys are two teams I do not like. But I'm kind of, I don't know. But anyway, so when the Bucs lost to Atlanta, I was, man, I just like took all the wind out of my sails. I didn't care about the
Right.
offseason because that was the last game of the season, and the Bucs lost in a game they should have won.
Well, they lost to a team that they beat by 2 scores a month before that. They went
Yeah.
down to Atlanta and just put a mollywhopping on them. So I mean, and then all of a sudden they come back and it's just like, wait, what the hell? And then just the way they lost the game with Deion Jones and the pick six and Matt Gay and the missed 3 field goals. It's just like, dude, please. It was just like the entire culmination of the last decade of Tampa Bay football all put into one game. So yeah, it wasn't the best way to go out at all.
Yeah, and so I again, man, and so I was just like depressed, and I'm sorry because I hate Matt Ryan. I hate Matt Ryan. I mean, if there's like any quarterback that in the NFL, in the whole NFL that I don't like, him and Dak Prescott are number one and number two, and you can interchange those two guys. And so now I guess I can add Andy Dalton to my list of quarterbacks I don't like,
Oh,
but
what Andy do? What Andy do?
Uh, uh, Andy's playing
Oh,
for
he
he's
plays
in
for
he's in
Dallas.
Dallas,
He
isn't
plays
he?
for Dallas. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So there
so
you
yeah, he
go.
earned that L, and hey, that's kind of where I'm at. Where they're just two teams that I just do not like. I've tried to hate the Saints. I just kind of I can get to the point where I dislike the Saints, but I can't be mad at them. I mean, it's just Atlanta. Atlanta and their I don't know what it is about Atlanta, but they just rub me the wrong way. And having Tom Brady here and that 28-3 comeback, you know, that clinched it for me. That this guy is a Buccaneer, and I'm happy he's here. But anyway, that's kind of where we are with that. So oh man, do we lose you again? Oh bro. Okay. Again, shout out to Comcast for whatever you guys are doing. Get your stuff together. But anyway, we were me and Evan are part of the what shall we say the Ronald Jones fan club. I think we got an exclusive group here. We just added Stank Bastard from Bucking Idiots. He's part of the Rojo fan club as well. Here's a guy that I've been high on him all off season. I've been high on him since last off season, just based on what he's doing to get better. And you guys, I mean, people that are sleeping on Ronald Jones, I promise you, this guy's running over 1,000. If he is healthy, hot take again, Ronald Jones is running over 1,000 yards. I expect him to have at least 1,500 all-purpose, just based on what he did, uh, splitting reps with Peyton Barber last year. I expect so much more out of this guy. So again, Ronald Jones is high on my list. He's a guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing. And as I talked about this in the offseason, things kind of change. But for me, you know, Ronald Jones is one of those guys I'm really looking forward to seeing. Another guy, Devin White. Getting to see Devin White healthy at the beginning of the season, um, you know, no colds and no flu and no injuries, and just you have a guy that's got a season under his belt. I mean, what is not to be excited about? You have the majority of your defense coming back, and they're healthy. I'm super super excited about this. T. Smitty. Guys, let me get in the chat here. Shout out to Sean Williams from Under the Dome podcast, the New Orleans Saints podcast. Real good friend of the show, very supportive. And, as podcasters, that's what we do, man. We support each other. I've been on his show. I plan on having him on within the next couple of weeks to talk about the head to head matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, really excited about that. Looking through here. I know Skull Gang. We talked about him. T. Smitty. Evans has the same Wi-Fi. Evan has the same Wi-Fi as Teddy Riley. Yeah, Stephen Pryor. As Stephen Pryor mentioned, a guy who can go, who can process what's going on, get the ball out fast and accurately. So yeah, he throws a nice ball. Uh, let's see. Will the Brewer. Brady has so many weapons. It makes me more excited about Rojo. You know what? Again, I think with Rojo as your lead back, I'm super excited about that. They somebody I think it was Pewter Pewter Report had mentioned that he's sharing snaps with other people, with some of the other running backs. I don't see a problem with that. You with COVID-19 has really wreaked havoc on the NFL, and it's just made it very difficult. I mean, when you think about it, that you don't have those games, you don't have mini camp, you don't have training camp, and you don't have preseason. So you've got to get these guys snaps. These guys have to get touches on the ball. And I think it's important when you think about what's going to happen in the middle of the season. You're talking about a full NFL season that we're going to see, and you never know. Injuries could occur. These are guys that need to get these touches. Whether it's Shady McCoy, whether it's Krishan Vaughn. These guys need to get touches. I'm not really concerned about Ronald Jones. The one thing that somebody did bring up was pass protection, but I'm a strong believer that this guy has done a lot to kind of hone his craft, and so we're just going to have to see what's going to happen, and hopefully that that will actually work to put him in a good position to really do something. Bear with me 1 minute. I am going to try to get Evan back on here. Shout out to Comcast again for screwing everything up. Can't say enough good things about you guys, but it is what it is. That's the beauty. That is the beauty of going live. It's always an adventure, always an adventure. So, again, here we go. Unable to connect to session. Yeah, but we'll see if we can get him back on here in just a moment here. But kind of getting back to this. What do you guys? Let me get back in the. Oh, shooter in the stash. Shooter in the stash. This guy here. Let me go back through the chat. I'll get back in here. T. Smitty said every QB isn't Brady. Big Ben, Cam, Deshaun Watson aren't precision guys who get the ball out quick. You have to build a system which fits that quarterback. I'm cautiously optimistic. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, the Bucs fans have been burned so many times, and it's frustrating because here we are. Every year is supposed to be, oh, this is the year we do better, and so you're not wrong. There's no wrong way to be a Bucs fan because of what the Bucs have had to endure over the last decade and a half. I will just say that. So, however you're feeling, and that's why I don't get upset with people if people are like, "Oh, well, I don't know if I'm ready yet." You know what? Hey, wait till 3, 4 games into the season and see how you're feeling then. You're not wrong because the Bucs have at times let you down. So, there is that. Um, Shooter in the stash, waiting till my show ends to start. Good call, bro. Antoine Cates. Watch out for Scotty Miller. Dude is having an awesome training camp. Dude can ball. You know what, Antoine? I'm right there with you. I'm hoping that Scotty Miller can stay healthy. What we saw from him, I forgot who that. Can you guys remember who was the cornerback? He smoked somebody bad on a go route. That was a 9 route, and he smoked the hell out of this dude. And I can't remember who it was that he beat, but that's those are things that I look for. I'm like, these are telltale signs that this guy's the real deal. And it's not just the speed, but his hands, just what he's doing, how he's getting better catching these passes. And then when you have a quarterback that can get the ball to you accurately, I mean that plays a huge part in it. So definitely something to look forward to. T. Smitty 3000. I didn't believe the Bucs were getting Brady. I thought they were going to sign Bridgewater. You know what? I wasn't sure. I was thinking Bridgewater too. Wasn't quite sure, but I'm glad it ended up the way it did. Frank G. What's going on, Frank G? So you think if Dirk was still the head coach, Brady would still come? No, as a definite no, 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 no. Yep, I doubt it. So no. But anyway, and Sean Williams, Sean is he knows this is a guy that he is a football fan, and he said, trust me, Devin White is a beast. Being down there in the Bayou, when you got to see Devin White on a regular basis, so you knew you knew when he was drafted that this guy was going to be the real deal. And I'm telling you what, LSU is producing some serious defensive players. Just I think that there have been a couple of players that, with Quan Alexander, I believe if Kendall Beckwith had not gotten hurt, I really believe that Kendall Beckwith would have been a quality player to help that linebacker core. So there's another guy. I mean, just the plethora. That's the ACT word of the day here. The plethora of linebackers and just players in general that have come out of LSU is just amazing. Will the Brewer, yeah, right. Devin White winning Rookie of the Month twice at the end of the year was good. I would have loved to have seen Devin White at the beginning of the season. I just would have. That would have been so impressive just to see him do what he does. Um, I think I may have lost Evan, but anyway, we'll we'll move on. Sorry, again, Evan. If I can get him back on here, I'll get him back on. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the chat. You guys are killing it tonight. Um, I like your show, just not your hot takes and tweets. That's Shooter in the Stash as usual, taking shots at me. P. Cody, Gene, what's happening, my brother? How you doing, my friend? I hope that everything is good with you. Hey, I'm hoping everything is good with you. Are you staying safe? I hope so. Um, T. Smitty 3000, the Jags traded Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, and are going to trade Yannick. Is Lovey running the Jags? Jeez. T. Smitty coming with the spice right there. I don't know, man. I really don't know what's going on in Jacksonville. I know that Yannick wants to get out, and I can't believe the sources that are out there on Twitter sometimes. I know that Michael Lombardi had mentioned something, and I didn't even read the quote because I don't like that guy. I don't think he's reliable either. I don't know how he has the following he has because he's horrible. I mean, even as a general manager, he was horrible. But that's for another time too. Antoine Cates, how do you feel about our kicking situation? I think it's going to be fine. I like Matt Gay. I'm comfortable with Matt Gay. I don't have a problem with Matt Gay being the kicker here. Um, I think that you're going to see so many. I think the offense will be better, and I think the defense will feed off the offense. The one thing that I guess I haven't really looked a lot at is special teams, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is really kind of diving into special teams, and that'll probably be something I'll talk about next week. Is where are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with special teams? What is your expectation of how clean these teams will be on opening day with the loss of the preseason schedule? Sean, great question. Great question. For me, I'm going to go on record, and I've gone on record saying this. The NFL, when they talk about protecting the shield, they always talk that bullshit about protecting the shield. Oh, we got to protect the shield. I would have pushed the season back. I just would have done it. I would have pushed the season back. I would have given you camp. I would have given you OTAs. I would have given you camp, and just kind of push the season on, and giving you at least one or two preseason games. That way, you have a more polished product going into the regular season. You're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be sloppy just because. And I think Tampa is fortunate again when you have the coaching staff that they have. I believe that you've got the majority of the players on this team are back from last year, so you have that form of consistency, and I believe that will be very helpful. The rookies, I think, when you have that large a core of players that have played under the same system that are coming back, it's going to help to speed along the process for rookies and new players. So to me, I don't see, like for Tampa, I don't see that as a huge issue. Again, time will tell once we get here and we see them playing out there. You may see something different, but again, I think that it is very possible that you are going to have some teams. Uh, New Orleans comes to mind because there hasn't been a lot of turnover with New Orleans. I think New Orleans is in a good position. I think Tampa's in a good position. Um, Carolina is a team that you kind of, if I were a Panther fan, I would be concerned about Carolina because you've got a new head coach, you've got a new quarterback. I mean, your offense is pretty much new with the exception of Christian McCaffrey. So, that's a team that's not going to really benefit from COVID-19, and it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from that. You know, um, Sean, you talk about that, and uh, I was on the Carolina Panthers show, Carolina Cat Chronicles, and they're not happy. There are so many fans that are just not happy with where Carolina is, and I don't know what's going on there. Are they in one of those situations where they're trying to tank? I wouldn't say tank. I just so it lacks so much integrity. But I think you've got a head coach, and I think they brought in a quarterback that can do a serviceable job. I believe they're going to always be in every game. They're a professional football team, so there are going to be games that they will win. I don't think I don't think they're going to be as bad as what people say. I mean, when you have Christian McCaffrey, I mean, anything's possible. So there's that. But Antonio Santiago, what's happening? Um, Probably tomorrow Thursday. I'm gonna have a special guest, one of our listeners, one of the guys that listens to the show. I'm gonna have him on. I'll give you a little bit more detail about that tomorrow. But again, I try to get listeners on as much as I can, just because I think as much as you guys listen, I want to give back and make sure that you guys are as much a part of this as possible, just like what we're seeing in the chat. So, again, guys, thank you so much. Yeah, and I love your questions. I think the questions are great. Um, I don't know, just kind of going around the league a little bit. What we saw with Gerald McCoy, it was really, and I realize Gerald is no longer with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's two teams removed. But when you look at what he did, he came in and he was supposed to come in and contribute on that defensive line, and then he turns around and gets injured, season-ending injury, and I didn't realize there's what is it, a triceps clause or something. What the hell is that clause that Jerry Jones put in the contract? I can't think of what that clause is. Whatever injury that Gerald McCoy had, a ruptured. Somebody hit me up in the chat. Let me know what. There you go, quad. That quad clause. I didn't think that was real. I thought that was all made up. And he had a bad quad and put him out for the year. I don't know how easy that will be to recover from that. So that's going to be definitely something to look forward. Forward to him trying to make that comeback. I don't wish injury on any player, and I think it's pretty messed up. But that is football, and these things happen. Sean Williams said, "You take a complete rebuild, magnified by the COVID clusterfuck. It's going to be hard to be competitive in this division." Yeah, I mean when you looking at Atlanta and what Atlanta's done, and then you look at Tampa and how Tampa has come in and revamped the offense here, and then the Saints are the Saints, and until somebody can unseat the Saints, they're just going to be the Saints. So. There is that. So the NFC South is going to be a tough division for the rest of the NFL. So definitely something to look forward to. Um, shooter in the stash. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't eat meat. Who was the other? Was that Arian Foster that went vegan and he ended up getting injured or something like that too? I can't remember who it was. I think it was Arian Foster, but that's for another time. Um, kind of. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that's who that was. But kind of getting back to the Bucks and camp, is there anybody in the chat, anybody that you're really looking forward to seeing, going into the season, anybody that you're really looking forward to seeing? You know what, Sean? Don't say that. I want Atlanta to keep the same coaching staff. I hope they re-sign him for the next decade. That would make me really happy. At least keep Dirk Cutter as the offensive coordinator. You may even want to consider bringing in Mike Smith as a defensive coordinator. But I think that would probably be my on my wish list right there would be to see Atlanta do that. Oh, okay, here we go. Frank G says Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller, man, it's going to be exciting to see what he can do. If this guy can stay healthy, uh, there's your number three receiver, speed receiver. Um, P. Cody, Krishan Vaughn, Will the Brewer, Tristan Wirfs, Fatal. Fatal is talking about Tristan Wirfs too. I'm interested to see what he can do. I know that they've been running a lot of reps with him with the first team, and I know he is a rookie. I'm super excited about that. I think that it's gonna do nothing but help him. So uh, here's a guy that your first round pick. Let's see what he can do. And I think that you can have certain lineups. You can have your tight end protecting. You can kind of shift your protection a little bit to help him out. But I think it'll be good to kind of see what he can do. But again, you kind of have to go back to COVID-19. He was robbed of a lot of preseason, a lot of training that he should have been able to do. So they're making the most of what they're able to do with him. I think he's going to be just fine. I think the one thing that stuck out to me the most was that a lot of the issues that people had with him are all coachable. These are all things that you work on it a little bit, you get better, and you put yourself in a better position to succeed. So I think a lot of the issues that Tristan Wirfs has that people didn't like are all coachable, and it is something that you can definitely work around. Um, Fatal was talking about Rob Gronkowski. Here we go, Gronk again. I just watching these plays, watching the videos, hearing what these people are saying about some of these players. Gronk in the back of the end zone, scary. I mean, what is a defensive coordinator supposed to do in that case, man? I mean, just scary. So just with everything that's going on, it's going to be really interesting to see that. Krishan Vaughn, here's another guy that I'm interested to see what he's going to do. Just watching some of his film, this guy is a home run hitter. I mean, if he gets loose, he gets loose, and he's really he's one of those guys that he can give you that home run ball every time. Sounds like they all came in shape. That's the one thing that I will say about the Buccaneers from top to bottom is the majority of these players, I can't speak for all of them, the majority of the players that we've seen have come into camp in shape. I mean, in past years, we do know that there have been players that have come into camp out of shape. But this year, it just kind of sticks out to me that all these guys have been working out, keeping themselves ready, and they're ready to go. And having Tom Brady, under center, that kind of adds to it as well. Let me see if I think we may have lost Evan for tonight. Let's see if I can make sure he's not trying to get in. Yeah, I think he is done. So next week we'll try to get him on next week and see what we can do here. But I guess it's just me and you guys, and we're sitting here, we're talking football. Um, so Sean, as the lone Saints fan here in the chat, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts? Just on your team and how they've come out of this offseason. Do you think that they're poised to make that run to the playoffs and possibly to a Super Bowl? Hopefully, not running into the Minnesota Vikings. Let me know what you think, man. But just other than that, just going around the league, there's just been a lot of it's just been a crazy off season. To me, and I mentioned this before, it's unprecedented. when you look at all the players, all the quality players that are going from one team to another team, it's not like you've got backups that are going to other teams. You've got actually good skill players that are going from one team to another team. So, again, it would be a travesty of justice if this NFL season didn't get to play out. And I said that a billion times, but it's true. That's kind of where we are. I mean, they're even talking about, and I meant to ask you guys, what do you think about having the playoffs in a bubble? I heard somebody had mentioned potentially playing the NFL playoff games in a bubble, and I wasn't sure. I'm not sure what I think about this, but I guess it's good to be proactive. It's good to plan ahead, in case there is that spike and something else happens. I don't know. P. Cody, what do you think about? Oh, Frank G. What's the bubble? Basically, where you have everybody protected in like kind of like what the NBA is doing, kind of like what the NHL was doing, where you have all these guys protected and they're just basically in a bubble and they're just to kind of keep them from contracting COVID. But I will say this: the NFL has done a hell of a job so far with COVID-19. You just haven't heard a lot about players getting it, to be very honest, or if they have, it's been kind of quietly kept. Clay Matthews Jr. Oh, okay, here we go. Clay Matthews. I don't know. Is he's still available? Again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there are positions that we see on this team that are concerning. When I look at the defensive line, that's one position. Um, your quarterback, your backup quarterback. I I freak out when I think about Blaine Gabbert. When I hear his name mentioned, I just freak out. I mean, he's not somebody that I'm 100% comfortable with or confident that he's gonna come in and be a serviceable quarterback. So again, it's just kind of one of those things. Yeah, Will the Brewer, that's perfectly put. Group isolation. The players are away from society for a bit, so it's kind of like, what do you call it, sequestering a little bit. I guess maybe that, I don't know if that's a good. That is. Um, the timing does seem good. Solid nucleus, solid coaching staff, but there's still an unknown because of the unprecedented times. You're absolutely right, and again, that's going to be on everybody's minds. So there were so many other things that I wanted to talk to Evan about, and kind of with his internet kind of messing up, it kind of ruined that. But what I will do, I will be on tomorrow as well. I have a special guest on tomorrow, and we're going to talk a little bit more. And next week, I will have in everybody's favorite, everybody in Bucks Twitter land's favorite guy, Tom Bassinger. I will have him on next week, and we'll be talking Bucks. And he's a friend of the show. He's been on several times. Um, a lot of people don't like him. I love the guy, and we have a great relationship. So look forward to that next week. I know a lot of people don't like what he says, but a lot of times what he's saying is actually true. So there is that. But before I go out of here, I do want to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. And let me roll through here. Stephen Pryor, Buck Skull Gang in the house, T. Smitty, Sean Williams of Under the Dome podcast, Will the Brewer. This guy, I love Will the Brewer because he talks about beer. So Will the Brewer is that guy, and great football IQ, and I really enjoy talking with him. Eventually, I will have him on the show at some point. I don't know what his schedule's like, but eventually it's going to happen. Shooter in the stash. Uh, we'll be doing the NHL podcast for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning for doing what they do, making you proud to be part of Tampa. And shout out to them. Antoine Cates, what's going on? Thank you so much for contributing. Frank G. Um, who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? I don't think that I am. Oh, Antonio Santiago and P. Cody. If I haven't mentioned your name, P. Cody, this guy, I love when he comes into the chat. He's always on point. and he always contributes, so it's greatly appreciated. But guys, that's pretty much it for me. I didn't have a whole lot tonight. I was gonna kind of talk a little bit with Evan. If you're able to follow Evan of Bucs Nation, uh, please give this guy a follow. He is great. I enjoy having him on the show when I can. And we will be doing some big things this year, so definitely look forward to that. You can follow him at Evan_winner. Be sure to follow him. He will follow you back, I believe. Yeah, it looks like yeah. It looks like he will follow you back more times than not. But I can't really speak for him, but I definitely will. I definitely will. And let me give you final thoughts for me. If you're a Bucks fan, this is a great time to be a Bucks fan. I would say over the past decade and a half has not been the best of the best, but here's an opportunity to really get out and support your team. I know that it hasn't been earned, but I promise you, this is going to be a fun season one way or the other. And in times of uncertainty, this is kind of where you need sports. I mean, we went through a period of time where we didn't have sports, and it just isn't the same. And here we are going into the NFL season. We're getting closer and closer, and pretty soon we'll be kicking off. So definitely, so let's try to come together and support each other, support this team, and let's go to the playoffs. That's kind of where we got to start at, getting to the playoffs. But anyway, that's pretty much it for me. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. I will have a special guest on. Next week, I will have Tom Bassinger on next week. And, we'll definitely be talking Bucks. So be sure to check us out. And that's pretty much it for me.